cell to be normal and turn on the right genes again, we should be able to do that for a cancer cell and either make it normal, or if it tries to be normal and wakes up from its zombie-like state, it might even kill itself. And that's what we're finding in my lab. Nalat's work has shown that a majority of cancers that we've grown in the lab will die and shrink in an animal if you try to reverse their age.
Through the injection that you were referring to earlier on?
Yeah, we can do it a couple of ways. One is using those 3 genes that rejuvenate the epigenome and make cells young again.
Yeah.
The one for the eye, the same technology for the eye we're using in cancer cells. But we also have this chemical drink that we can give to animals or to put on the cells, and that also wakes the cancer cells up, they try to become more normal. They turn on the original set of genes that they might have had on 30, 40 years ago. Some of these cancer cells that we grow in the lab were from the 20th century. We rejuvenate them, we turn on those genes that were originally in the normal tissue, and the cells kill themselves. And so I believe that we may not be able to cure all cancer using this. That would be crazy to even say that. But I do believe that if we're successful rejuvenating the human body, cancer is not going to be a risk. And that's just a nice side effect of what our original mission was, which was to treat aging.
So from this, we can start to try and understand what we think is causing cancer. And I guess this goes back to a lot of the carcinogenic behavior that you described earlier, things like smoking, anything that's applying stress on the DNA. Is that like a...
Yeah, you have to break the DNA.
Okay.
That's a catastrophe is really broken DNA, but you can do other things that catastrophes like overheat the cells, even mechanical stress, too many hits on the brain in football will do that. So yes, that's exactly right. And that drives aging, and aging drives cancer, by the way. One of my theories called the gerontogenesis hypothesis. Terrible name, but nevertheless, gerontogenesis it is. It's the idea that as we age, we're becoming more cancer-like as a human. Our metabolism, when we're old, is closer to heading towards what a cancer cell's metabolism is like. So that when we actually do get cancer, the cancer cells grow better in an old person than when you're young. And so by rejuvenating those cancer cells, giving them the ability to be young again, they actually either slow down in their growth or, as I said, kill themselves in response.
I've got a bit of a prop here, which might be useful for the context of,
goodness.
of aging.
There are people here that may not know what I'm holding in my hands, but for those of you who don't know and who are just listening, I'm holding a record in my hands, a vinyl record that Stephen just handed me. So the information theory of aging, the analogy that I used is that it disrupts information. And so this record, this album has information on it. It's music. And just like DNA, it's information. So instead of the DNA information, the control of the DNA bit getting messed up, in the album, it's like scratching this album. So I'm literally going to scratch this album. Is that okay with you?
Of course you can.
All right. I'm not sure I can fix it, by the way. It may be a one-way thing, but I've never done this before. But that's painful. Maybe you can hear that happening. So if we were to play this on a record player with a needle, it's going to jump around and it's going to read the wrong songs, or it's going to certainly not sound very good. So that's now the equivalent of an old cell. The information, the beautiful music is there, but the ability to read it has been messed up. In the same way that old age, the information is in the DNA, but the cells don't read it correctly. And what our technology is to get rid of those scratches. And so we can play the beautiful music of our youth again.
I have got this. You told me to bring my weighted vest and this neck brace.
Oh my goodness.
I think I put it on the wrong way. Okay.
Anyone listening, Stephen's putting on a very heavy jacket right now with lead weights and a strap around his neck to limit his neck movement.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. So I just put on a 20, I think it's 20 kilogram, my son's weak now, jacket and a neck brace. And ahead of this conversation, my team told me to get one of these. What is the analogy here that you're creating? This is very,
It's bad, right?
It's hard, yeah.
Right, imagine feeling like that for a decade. That's old age. You're feeling tired, weak, you can barely hold your body up, you can barely move your neck. It would be painful. You're not in pain yet.
No.
But most people in their 80s have some sort of disease and aches and pains. Try doing that for another 10 minutes maybe. How long can you keep that on?
I'll keep it on for another 10 minutes. So why is this? Because it's weight and immobility. I can't move my neck the same. My shoulders feel heavier. How is this a relevant analogy to aging? Because it just kind of feels like immobility and weight.
Well, I have to come over there and use this pair of scissors to be stabbing you as well, so you can feel pain as you move as well. That's part of old age. It is not a fun thing being old. And most old people, the reason that they don't love life anymore is because they feel like you do, or worse. Not to mention the fact that you need to put Vaseline on your eyes, earplugs in your ears, if you want to know what it's like being old.
Oh, God, it's not nice.
Or even worse, shut your eyes and you can never open them again. That's what it's like for those patients that we hope to cure blindness in.
If I'm going to ask you a really tough question, which is, if I put a calculator in front of you right now, and you had to hit a number on that calculator and then hit enter, and that was the age that you were going to live to, and you had to make that decision now, what number would you hit on that calculator?
Infinity.
Really? So you did, no.
There's no day, if you're healthy, where you want to die. Even if you're 100, 120, if you have friends, family, loved ones, you're healthy, would you say, okay, tomorrow I'm ready to die?
No. That's not going to happen. Unless there was some kind of psychiatric issue or something.
Exactly. Right, so that's my point, is when people say, oh, when I'm 80, kill me, that is bullshit. Excuse my language. Am I allowed to swear on this?
No, of course you can. Sorry, we're going to have to beep it for the kids, I guess.
It's only when you're sick or you have depression that you want to leave this world. Otherwise, life is a joy for most people in the world. Not everybody, and we have to fix that as well. But for most of us, being alive is the greatest gift of any collection of atoms. consciousness is even greater. And why would you want that to end? Who would choose that if they had the alternative to be with family and friends?
Interesting. I say that's interesting because I have always assumed that I wouldn't want to live forever. But when you asked me if I was healthy and I had my friends and family and I was doing things that I loved professionally, would there come a day where I would choose to go now? No, there wouldn't. Just like there hasn't come a day in the last 33 years where I've chosen to go now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Do you think it's going to be possible in the next 50 years for us to live forever?
I'd be shocked if that happened, but I've been shocked my whole career at how fast this technology is moving. And now with AI, things are going so fast, my head's spinning. So I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I'm skeptical that we could live forever, in my lifetime at least. But as I said, you're probably going to live, you are going to live into the 22nd century. We can't imagine what the world's going to be like then.
And AI has really changed this equation.
Oh, absolutely. We're doing things in my lab that would have taken 160 years before, and quite literally billions of dollars on a $10,000 budget.
Well, I guess I better make it to 2040. So let's talk about fasting and food and nutrition. And go a little bit deeper on that. I've had so many conversations over the years about the subject of fasting, but as I was reading your research, you really do feel that fasting, just eating less often, is one of the most important things that we can all do for longevity.
I do, and I practice it as much as I can, though it's challenging in a world that's full of abundant food. But yes, we've known for thousands of years, the ancients are not dummies. They could witness what happens when you fast. Clarity of mind, long-term health. They could observe the difference between the gluttons and the people that fasted for religious reasons. It's obvious, but there's certain ways to do it. Fasting doesn't include malnutrition. You have to do it with abundant, vitamins, minerals. You want to make sure that you have adequate nutrition. But I think 3 meals a day is craziness. It turns out this idea breakfast is the most important meal of the day is marketing from the early 20th century by companies I will not name. But it was breakfast cereal. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day for most people, especially adults. Especially if you're not hungry when you wake up. There's no point in eating if you're not hungry in the morning. I'm one of those people. So I've skipped breakfast. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't eat. My first meal today was 3 p.m. because I had a podcast until 2 p.m. So, which is typical for me. I just don't get hungry in the mornings. Now, because of the marketing though for breakfast, sometimes I've said to myself, "Oh, you should eat," and I'll make myself eat. But it's very, very rare. People know that I'm notoriously a late eater. 4 p.m. sometimes, 5 p.m. if I'm in the office.
How are you feeling with that heavy?
It's heavy, David. I'm gonna be honest. It's not. I'm finding myself like trying to find a comfortable position.
Yeah, it's tough being old, and by the end of it, you will be so convinced that this research is important because to live like that. In most people, life is not worth living. I put a very heavy suit like that, but on the arms as well, not just the body. And he had the earmuffs and the eyes. This was the governor of Massachusetts. 15 minutes in that bodysuit, and he was crying. Not because he was in pain, because as he said on stage, it was the first time in his life he understood how his father feels and could be empathetic. We young people, I'm relatively young, 56, you're very young, 33, we have no idea what it's like to be old. It can be horrific. So why wouldn't we do the right things like fasting, exercising, so we can get an extra 10 years, 20 years, maybe longer of healthy life?
It does also give me a lot of empathy for people that have a bit more weight on them as well. Because of, if I weighed that much, I don't know if I'd be very active, to be completely honest with you.
Exactly, and you're in pain too, don't forget. Every joint can be hurting. How do you feel taking that
Much
off?
better.
Right.
Free, like I want to jump.
So let's hope, pray, wish that these technologies that I'm talking about today work. Because that could be what it feels like to be rejuvenated when you're 80.
I hope so. To close off on this point of fasting, why does it help extend my life?
Yeah.
Just eating less.
Part of it came out of research in my lab, but of course many others I need to give credit to. But in my lab specifically, what we worked on initially when I started, we studied yeast cells. Little microscopic cells that, as everyone knows, we use to make beer and bread and champagne. These yeast cells live about 10 days and then they die. And we used yeast as a model for aging. And what we discovered with yeast cells, which turns out to be true in our bodies, is that adversity, as long as it's not killing these cells, is good for you. It's called hormesis. It's the technical term for what doesn't kill you makes you stronger and live longer. Adversity mode is what we're aiming for. The opposite is abundance mode, which is what modern life is all about. Popcorn, movies, wheels on your suitcase, sitting down all day. We're in an abundance world. So adversity is something we don't often feel. We have to work at it. Fasting is adversity. Exercise is adversity. Cold plunges, saunas, adversity. Adversity mimics. They're not really threatening your life. What happens at the cellular level is that those cells, they get freaked out. They're worried that these times of adversity could kill us, so they fight back. They turn on repair systems. They turn on recycling systems. they turn on DNA repair systems that help slow down aging. So in this modern world, when we have total abundance, we don't have to exercise, we eat 3 meals a day, we get overweight, we don't sleep much, we have air conditioning in summer. We're actually aging faster than we need to because our bodies are not fighting aging like they do when they feel adversity.
Your team discovered, I can't say the word, sirtuinous?
Oh, well, I was one of many scientists in the 1990s. I was part of a team called sirtuins. Yeah.
Sirtuins.
Yeah. In yeast, actually. That's right. That's a good story. I went to the US to figure out why we get old. But I didn't choose to study humans because I figured if we can't figure it out for little yeast cells, we'll never figure it out for humans. So I went to MIT. My professor was Lenny Guarente. I went to his lab and I said, I'm not going. I'm not leaving. The goal was, in my mind, was to figure out, are there longevity genes? At that time, most people thought that there were aging genes that caused aging, death genes. That doesn't make any sense to me. Our bodies would have longevity genes that give life. So in yeast, I went searching for them, and out of that work came 2 things. The first is Lenny and I, my professor and I, published in the journal Cell, which was a massive big deal in those days, still is, but it was my first time. The first evidence for a cause of aging for any species. We figured out why yeast cells get old. Do you want to guess?
Why do yeast cells get old?
Have you been paying attention? What does the information theory of aging say?
I was going to say they have an identity crisis, but...
They do!
How would we know if they're having an identity crisis?
Oh, you can measure the identity of yeast cells. They have an identity. It's called their mating type. The main identity of a yeast cell is they are either A type or alpha type, male, female. And the hallmark of a yeast cell that's old is it loses its A and alpha identity and gets an identity crisis. It doesn't know what sex it is and it doesn't mate anymore. It becomes sterile. So when I arrived at MIT in 1995, we knew that the hallmark of an old yeast cell, besides it being a bit slow and bigger, is that it became sterile. It had an identity crisis. So we figured out that broken chromosomes distract the sirtuin defenses, and that causes aging in a yeast cell. But we didn't know in the 90s that that was going to be true for us as well. It took another decade or 2 to figure that out.
And how does this link to eating all the time?
Yeah. So sirtuins are proteins that actually are attracted to DNA. They actually associate with it and they protect the DNA from getting damaged.
Okay, like bodyguards.
Yeah, and they repair broken chromosomes, right? It's all coming together now. But they also get distracted. So look, a sirtuin's normal job, if there's no crisis, is that they turn genes on and off. They are epigenetic regulators. They control the epigenome. They tell a cell what type it is. No cell skin cell, right?
Like a conductor.
Thank you. Conductor, exactly. But the conductor becomes demented over time. What happens is when you have a chromosomal break, the sirtuins panic, they leave the DNA, what they're supposed to be doing, controlling the cell's identity, and they go and they repair the DNA. That's their other job. They have 2 jobs, identity and repair. So when you have this break, the sirtuins go away, they repair the problem, but they don't all go back in the next few minutes. It's very quick. They don't all go back to where they started. So you've got like this tennis match that the sirtuins are the balls, and they get hit over to the break, then hit back. Most of them find the genes that they should go back to, but they don't all do that. And that total game of tennis or ping pong, if you like, is what I believe causes the identity crisis, and aging itself causes aging in yeast cells. It's why yeast cells don't live longer than 10 days. And I believe it's why we struggle to live beyond 80 or 90.
So if I'm eating all the time, then those sirtuins, they're not going to be doing their job as the conductor, making sure I know the identity of my cells. They're going to be doing repair stuff. So I'm going to age faster.
Yes, and the breakthrough happened in the lab as I was just leaving to go to Harvard. I got a job at Harvard when I was 29, super excited. And just as I was leaving, there was a big breakthrough that they actually kept it secret from me because they were worried I was going to work on it when I left. And in fact, my professor tried to prevent me from working on it when I left, on sirtuins in general. It's crazy to think about. But what they discovered was that there's a metabolite, a molecule that goes up and down with food and up and down with sleep called NAD. We have lots of it. There's grams of it in our body. It's one of the most abundant molecules in the body. It's very ancient. It's in yeast. It's in us. And what they found was that sirtuins, to control genes and to repair DNA that's broken, they don't do it unless there's NAD. It's the catalyst. It's the fuel for their reaction. They need NAD. And when we're young, we have lots of NAD. So it works well. The sirtuins control the information on the genes and they repair the DNA very well because they've got lots of NAD to carry out their work. These are enzymes. They work. They do things. As we get older, by the time you're 50, about my age, you have half the levels of this NAD molecule. My body is making less NAD, and it's also destroying the NAD faster than when I was 20. That's a problem. And so what we found was that when we fast the yeast or we fast a human, NAD levels go up again. So fasting raises NAD and makes the sirtuins young again, essentially. And that preserves the epigenome, and it also repairs the DNA better.
So can I just drink NAD?
You can drink NAD, and not much would happen.
How do I take NAD?
So NAD can be taken as a supplement, which is a precursor to NAD. It's better to take the precursors.
A precursor meaning something that creates it. Naturally.
Exactly. There's one called NMN, not to be confused with M&Ms, which will probably not make you live longer. And there's another one called NR. NMN is directly converted into NAD. You put 2 NMNs together, you get NAD in the cell. We know this for a fact. This isn't speculation. When you give a human NMN by swallowing it, a gram of it, you typically double the amount of NAD in your body. And we believe, and we have some evidence now in human clinical trials, that the sirtuins are imparting health benefits, reestablishing the epigenome, lowering body weight, improving inflammation, and even changing cholesterol levels in a positive way in humans.
So, I mean, I'm assuming you take NMN.
I've been taking NMN and admitting that publicly for a while now. And my father, who is an even more advanced experiment at 86. So yes, we've been taking it for over a decade now. and we're still alive. So far, so good.
So far, so good. I do want to get into, and I will ask you in a second about the supplement stack that you would recommend for the average person, but that's good to know. But just to close off on this point of fasting, is there a particular type of fasting method that you would recommend for someone who's trying to improve their longevity? Because there's so many that I hear 16 hours, 5 days.
I'm a scientist, so I go with what's proven. I'm not selling anything. So what the science says, first of all, is that there isn't one size fits all for everybody. It often depends on what you can do personally. It's challenging to do this, right? You'll feel hungry for the first 2 weeks you try it. So I would suggest, the way I do it is I start by skipping 1 and then maybe 1.5 meals, like what you do. Try to go without a meal until 3, 4 o'clock if you can. Maybe not the first day, right? If you do that the first day, you'll say, this is crazy, I'm going to grab a snack, and you won't do it. So go slowly, build up to it. So the first day, I would say, just don't eat breakfast and maybe have a snack mid-morning. A week later, try to go without breakfast completely until lunch, and eventually work up to what you do and I do, which is eat a very late lunch, if not go to dinner. What you get with that is obviously not eating in bed, hopefully. So you've got the night fast starting, what would it be, 7 p.m. roughly? When do you finish dinner?
Oh God, no comment.
Okay.
It's usually pretty late. Last night it was, this is probably why I don't eat very early the next day. Last night would have been about, I'm going to say 10 p.m.
Okay.
It was super late. That's an extraordinary example. Usually it would be 8 or 9 p.m.
Okay, but you've got at least 13, 14 hours, which is good.
Yeah.
Try to aim for 14 hours. Some people go 16 hours, but that's a good start for fasting. And hopefully you can do that most days, 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. That's great, because that means that you're turning on your sirtuins, raising your NAD. You exercise as well, so that's also added into it. One thing that I've started doing is fasting for longer than just 14, 16 hours. I try maybe once a month to go for 3 days without eating.
Why?
Because there's a type of cellular recycling that doesn't happen within the first 16 hours. You will enter ketosis, so your body will start to change its metabolism and produce what's called ketone bodies. But the true, real, deep cleansing of old proteins and damaged proteins happens after 2.5 to 3 days. And it's called chaperone-mediated autophagy.
Autophagy.
Autophagy is the word for auto self-eating. And it really kicks in with an extended fast.
What's the evolutionary reason for that? What's going on there? Why does it take me 2.5 days for this deep clean to happen?
Because your body doesn't want to do it. It costs a lot of energy, and having to remake body parts is energy expensive. And our body tries to conserve energy as much as possible. When you're fasting, what it needs to do is to use your body as fuel. So it'll start breaking down proteins for fuel that you need. So first of all, what will happen is in the first few hours, you use glycogen from your liver. Your liver makes glucose. You'll feel a little bit hungry, but you'll eventually be fine. Then once you run out of glycogen, then you're going to start breaking down fat and making ketones. That's when you start to get a bit of bad breath from that. But you feel great. When you're in between about 15 hours and 24 hours, that's when you get a lot of ketones. And your brain uses those for fuel. So you'll have a sharp mind, you can remember things, you can focus on work if you ever get there. Beyond that, you need to break down fat. And that is when your body is starting to do that. But ultimately, what happens after 3 days is your body says, hey, I'm going to start breaking down protein as well. And I wouldn't do that often because I don't want to break down a lot.
Aqui é GG, né, mano? É GG. Preciso irritar, mas vamos lá. Hold. Nice. Nice. Protein turnover. Ah, man. Hopefully he's doing that with ace queen or something. This is fucking aces or kings. Maybe queens. Need an ace or king. Can I hold? Ah, fuck. Need an ace. Ace. Okay. Okay.
A lot of protein, but your body will start to turn over old proteins preferentially. And a little bit of that's why I do it maybe once a month, has been shown, at least in animals, to be not just healthy, but life extending.
On that point of ketosis, I like being in a state of ketosis. I kind of cycle in and out of it during the year because I get so many of the cognitive benefits. I'm more articulate on the podcast. I can think better. I feel better. I feel more focused and more attentive. Is the ketone diet a healthy diet? In your view, what are the benefits of it? Is it something that you think is natural to be recommended?
Well, I don't mind being controversial, but I do speak the truth. There's not a lot of evidence that long-term the ketogenic diet is healthy. Certainly doesn't.
My range probably wants to lead here, but I don't know if this hand does. Still do it though. Half bite. Yes, pretty bad though. Or rather, it's good, but I don't know if I keep betting. I think I check call. Or does it have to be bluffing here? Or do I try to extract out of a queen, a king queen or something? I mean, I'm definitely gonna call. Can he be betting an ace like ace 9, ace 8? I think he could, right? My hand is not a pure bluff catcher. Okay. Open ace 7-5, huh? I mean, it's not necessarily wrong, but it's good to know. It is a little wider.
Doesn't correlate or associate with longevity. Short term, okay, it does help people lose weight, no question. But I am rather concerned for people that don't have a balanced diet with an input of plant material, which has molecules that are unique to plants and you won't find in high processed foods or meat. The evidence, speaking as a scientist, is that the long-term ketogenic diets are not going to be longevity inducing. The evidence is more having a lean diet with a focus on plants that are not overcooked and not ultra processed. That one is undoubtedly the healthiest if you can do it.
Do you eat meat?
I do eat meat, but not like I used to. I used to think that a meal was not a meal unless I had a piece of meat there and then the vegetables were the decoration. And I begrudgingly eat the green stuff. I've been flipped totally. Serena, my partner, Serena Poon, is not just a nutritionist, but a longevity expert for the last 26 years. And so she came to my apartment, which is now our apartment, and she just cleared out all the food that I had. Pretty much everything was either toxic or just not healthy. It was ultra processed. She said, "What are you eating? That kind of peanut butter, full of sugar." So she's taught me how to live healthy. And so now I rarely eat meat. I rarely drink alcohol. I focus on really fresh, high quality, preferably organic foods because I don't want pesticides and I don't want other contaminants. But I do know organic can be more expensive.
Why not meat?
So animals, unfortunately, don't make what are called polyphenols, which are a type of molecule that I believe and have evidence turns on the sirtuins and other pathways, biochemical reactions that delay aging. So sirtuins are just one of a few.
Polyphenols. Are natural compounds found in plant foods like fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, and olive oil. They help protect us by reducing inflammation and oxidate stress.
Few enzymes that control aging. We know this. There's sirtuins, there's mTOR, which responds to aminos, and another one called AMPK. So those three pathways are altered in just the right way by molecules found only in plants. Well, and a small extent in fungi. But in just mTOR, which are just one of a few enzymes that control aging. We know this. There's sirtuins, there's mTOR, which responds to aminos, and another one called AMPK. So those three pathways are altered in just the right way by molecules found only in plants. Well, and a small extent in fungi, but not in meat. So if you're not eating a lot of vegetables or fruits, you're not getting these molecules. They're like medicine as food. So right here, I hope you don't mind me mentioning that there are some food in front of us. And I'm looking at blueberries here. Blueberries are packed with polyphenols. One of the reasons they have purple color is that polyphenols have the color. And as Serena would tell you, eat the rainbow. I call it xenohermesis, which is not as attractive. But xenohermesis is the same idea as eat the rainbow, that by eating plants that have a lot of these molecules that are often produced by stressed plants, we get the benefits.
Stress plants.
So plants will be stressed just like we are. If you don't give them enough water, food, too much sunlight, not enough sunlight, they, in their defense, they make polyphenols. There's a whole bunch of them: resveratrol, fisetin, quercetin. There's hundreds. This one has anthocyanidins. That's the color. These activate these adversity responses in our cells. The sirtuins will get activated by molecules in this blueberry.
So if I eat this blueberry, those conductors that conduct some of the aging process you talked about, making sure my cells don't have an identity crisis, fixing the the negative stress that's going on in my cells, they will be benefited by me eating this blueberry.
Yeah, it's like a free hack, right? You can eat something that's yummy, but you're also getting the benefits by mimicking fasting and exercise in your food as well. The sirtuins don't just need NAD. That's the gas pedal. That's the petrol for those of you in the British world and Commonwealth. The fuel for sirtuins is NAD. The accelerator pedal are the polyphenols in fruits and vegetables like resveratrol, quercetin, which we know when you give them to sirtuins, they get hyperactivated.
And when you say eat the rainbow, you mean eat colourful looking food.
Because that's an easy way to remember how to eat foods that have the most polyphenols. I'll give you a really good example, Stephen. Serena put me onto green tea matcha, right? So matcha tea, if you haven't tried it, I'm sure you've tried it, but those of you who haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It tastes great. The reason for it, switching from coffee mainly to matcha in the morning for me, is that it's full of polyphenols. Why is it full of polyphenols? It's not just because it's green tea, which is not naturally healthy, but the growers of those plants in Japan, typically, they shade the plants before they harvest. Shading the plants stresses them out. Plants need light. So they don't just make more chlorophyll, which produces the deep green color in the tea, but the polyphenols are super high. And through trial and error over thousands of years, the Japanese figured out that by shading the plants, giving them this mild hormetic stress, it makes them not just extra tasty, but extra healthy. Same with red wine, by the way, but the alcohol can be an issue. But absent alcohol, red wine is very good for you.
Okay, without the alcohol.
It's unfortunate. You know, one of my papers in 1996 caused red wine sales to go up 30% and stay up. I apologized for saying that red wine every day was healthy. Doctors were recommending it, remember?
Yeah.
But I now changed my mind. I have to say that I no longer believe having one glass of red wine every day is healthy, in my opinion. And I've stopped drinking red wine every day. Instead, I take polyphenols from red wine and from vegetables, either in a pill or in my food, as a substitute, because the evidence for alcohol is rather damning. There's a UK Biobank study, and the UK looked at thousands of people's MRI scan of their brain who were drinking one glass of alcohol a day. And there was a statistical difference between the people that were drinking one glass a day and were not, in terms of brain size and grey matter. Of course, the grey matter tended to be smaller in those that drank, even slightly.
Yeah, I do. I actually have a matcha company. It was this year voted the fastest growing company in the UK. It's by some founders that I invested in, Levi, Teddy, and Marissa from Dragon's Den, and it's been an absolute unbelievable business. Unbelievable.
So tell us, where do I get it?
Japan. You get the matcha from Japan, but the company's called Perfect Day. People know about it because I've talked about it before. But I didn't realize when I made the investment that matcha was considered by many to also be very healthy, especially a health alternative to certain energy products on the market that you get in cans that give you. I shan't get sued. But the other thing that the company I invested in is this one here called Ketone IQ. I'm a co-owner of this company as well. And
yeah, I love that. Love that company. And the CEO, Michael, good guy.
What's your thoughts on exogenous ketones, like drinking ketones?
I do it. In fact, I drink Ketone IQ before I do a podcast.
Why?
It improves my clarity, I find. I also believe the science, and there have been multiple studies now in people. Some of the science comes out of Ketone IQ, but also independent studies have shown that it's extremely healthy for the heart. And there's new studies that show for the brain as well, it can be healthy. The brain uses ketones like beta-hydroxybutyrate, or in that one, it's 1,3-butanediol. Just a shot of that will give the brain food that it needs, rather than the body having to make it. And you get, I believe, and I feel it, I get the clarity of fasting without being in a fasted state. But I also drink it when I'm fasting to give the body the extra boost that it needs.
And on this point of diet, one of the things that I was told by my doctor when I did one of those blood tests was he cautioned me about bad cholesterol. He said to me something along the lines that I need to be careful about the bad cholesterol. And there's been lots of conversation about cholesterol, good, bad. What's your perspective on this conversation around bad cholesterol, which has been thought to increase, certain foods have been thought to increase bad cholesterol, which is very, very detrimental to our health?
I didn't realize there was a debate. At least in my world, there is no debate. If you're referring to, do you want to get your LDL cholesterol as low as possible?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, the science is irrefutable. There's thousands of people in studies. Now, I think I know what you're talking about. There are some stories that you need cholesterol in your brain, and if you inhibit it, you might affect your brain function. You also need it for repair of arteries. But there's no evidence that that's a problem. In fact, it's a little known fact that the brain doesn't use the cholesterol from the bloodstream. It makes its own. So I've actually been on a statin to lower my LDL since I was 30.
Really?
Well, I had high cholesterol. It's in my family. But I went to my doctor and I said, I want to go on these new drugs at the time, statins. And he said, why? You don't have heart disease yet. And I said, why would I wait? Get me on it. I want to be on it. And in those days, it was very weird to give someone a statin at age 30 with no evidence of heart disease. But as you know, I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't wait till we get diseases to treat them. We should preempt that and start early in life. And so, yeah, I insisted with my doctor, initially with statins, but on all of these things, I go in and I say, I need you to prescribe me this test. I need this medicine. And eventually, after talking it over with him, he typically prescribes me something or gets me a test. But I've been fighting the system. And my doctor's at Harvard, so he's a good doctor, but conservative. The old way of doing medicine is, if you're not sick, we're not going to give you a medicine. Certainly not if you're young and healthy. But that has to change.
So you're saying that I should be on statins, potentially?
Well, what's your LDL level?
I don't think it's great. I think I ate too much bacon or something.
Well, we can talk about food and cholesterol because it depends whether you absorb cholesterol or not. We can test for that. But if you do absorb cholesterol more than most, I would say that you may want to change your diet at a minimum.
On this plate here in front of us, I have the top 5 foods that I believe you think are great for reversing aging. Am I correct? Does that?
These are great choices, yeah.
So what are these and why? So we've already done the blueberries and you've explained to me about polyphenols and they're rich in them, which I understand, and they're low in sugar, right?
Well, they're not low in sugar, so don't eat a ton of them. A handful is fine as a snack. It's also known that having too much sugar is bad for longevity. So keep your blood sugar levels steady and low as much as you can. So don't eat too many of those. A better choice than blueberries would be something like matcha, which is not full of sugar. In fact, if you go to some of these chains that sell matcha and it tastes really sweet, you're going to reverse the effects of any polyphenols by drinking that much sugar. So I always have unsweetened matcha. Okay, so now we've got avocados here.
Yep.
Avocados, they're not so much known for their polyphenols, though they do have them. It's the type of fats, the polyunsaturated fats. They help with satiety, so you're not going to be as hungry. So if you put that on your sandwich at lunch, you're not going to feel peckish. And they're highly anti-inflammatory as well. The molecules are in there, and the fats are very good for you.
Extra virgin olive oil?
Oh, yeah. Excellent. So the type of oils that are in there are very healthy. There's omega-9, which is also known to activate sirtuins. And again, if you have the right grower, and this has been cold pressed, not too processed, and stressed before harvesting, you'll have huge amounts of polyphenols as well.
I really hope that this is what the team said it was. This has happened before. I tried something and I thought it was something else, but it was basically it was a white powder and it was labeled with something
What
for
could it be? Yeah, yellow
urine.
yellow
It could
liquid.
be urine. Urine. It's urine. No, I'm joking. It's not.
I don't think drinking urine is longevity. But yeah, on and off, I do take a teaspoon of olive oil in the morning and mix it with resveratrol, polyphenol.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so extra virgin olive oil, good.
Yeah. And there's a lot of evidence, not just molecular like me, but epidemiologically, people that have a lot of olive oil in their diet tend to have low inflammation and less disease.
And we've got some nuts.
Yeah, nuts are good for many reasons. They're full of vitamins and minerals. If there's a Brazil nut, you want to have one of those every day for the selenium, which is a very rare element in our food supply. And there's a recent study just last month showing that a lack of selenium can be very deleterious. So nuts are great as a snack. Be careful, they're full of calories though. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're not exercising a lot, don't overeat on the nuts. And my least favorite food, but nevertheless, I will eat them. This is a Brussels sprout. When I was a kid, Brussels sprouts tasted a lot worse, a lot bitter.
True.
Those are good because they have polyphenols, but there's also another molecule in them called sulforaphane. It's actually the reason they taste terrible and smell terrible. Sulforaphane is what it sounds. It has a sulfur atom in it, and that gives it that rotten egg smell. But sulforaphane activates these hormesis pathways. There's one called NRF, and that is a stress response protein that sulforaphane activates. So you actually, by eating preferably relatively steamed, not fried to death Brussels sprouts, you'll get sulforaphane. You can also take sulforaphane as a supplement if you don't like Brussels sprouts.
You've used this word pulsing before.
I don't know what to do here. I threw back call? Hopefully it doesn't have aces. He could be overplaying some things here. And now I have the out of the flush. So I'm actually going to call. He could be overplaying another pocket pair like 10, 10, 8s or 9s. Oh. That's what he added. Jesus Christ. Jeez. See, but he could easily, if he has queen 7 there, he can have literally an enormous quantity of shit, which is going to play the same way. So I gotta call. I think it's fine. I should lead this.
You believe that the body should go through cycles of stress and recovery rather than receiving constant daily inputs. When you say pulsing, what do you mean? Give me an example of pulsing and why I need to do that.
Well, there's a few examples. The first time I came across this result as a scientist was resveratrol. So resveratrol is found in red wine, among others.
Bro, ace is a really good card. I was going to play check raise on the turn, but okay.
Other things, and it's thought to give the health benefits of red wine. And we fed it to mice, fat mice, skinny mice, old mice, and it worked very well in the fat mice. It made them thinner. It made them live longer. It cured most of their diseases. They lived about, I think it was 15, 20% longer. Then we gave it to normal mice every day, and they lived a little bit longer, but not significantly.
Resveratrol.
Resveratrol. What we found, to my surprise, was when we gave old mice resveratrol, not every day, but every second day, then they lived significantly longer. So then I thought, well, maybe giving them a foreign substance every day is not good. Maybe there's some side effect that's counteracting benefit. The other thing I want to mention, I said there's a few examples. Another good one is metformin. Metformin has been shown to make athletes and bodybuilders and people who go to the gym, weightlifters, do less repetitions. And as a result, their muscles are about 5% less compared to those that don't take metformin in size. I don't think it's molecular. I think it's because you feel a little bit weaker with metformin because it's actually interfering with your body's ability to make energy through mitochondria. Mitochondria, I think most people have heard of the little power packs living in our cells, originally bacteria that came into our bodies. The point is that by pulsing metformin, I think that's a better way to do it for longevity.
You mean cycling it? So like doing it every other day? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I take metformin or the natural equivalent, which is berberine, if you don't want to take the drug, you can take berberine. That also activates this AMPK, this other sirtuin-like pathway. Taking it every other day, I think, is better. And particularly if you like to work out, don't take the metformin a few hours before you work out. Take it after, or maybe skip it that day. I think that's a better approach.
You know, every once in a while you come across a product that has such a huge impact on your life that you'd probably describe it as a game changer. And I would say for about 35 to 40% of my team, they would currently describe this product that I have in front of me called Ketone IQ, which you can get at ketone.com, as a game changer. But the reason I became a co-owner of this company and the reason why they now are a sponsor of this podcast is because one day when I came to work, there was a box of this stuff sat on my desk. I had no idea what it was. Lily in my team says that this company have been in touch. So I went upstairs, tried it, and quite frankly, the rest is history. In terms of my focus, my energy levels, how I feel, how I work, how productive I am, game changer. So if you want to give it a try, visit ketone.com/Stephen for 30% off. You'll also get a free gift with your second shipment. And now you can find Ketone IQ at Target stores across the United States, where your first shot is completely free of charge. We have finally caved in. So many of you have asked us if we could bundle the conversation cards with the 1% diary. For those of you that don't know, every single time a guest sits here with me in the chair, they leave a question in the diary of a CEO, and then I ask that question to the next guest. We don't release those questions and change what we've done. Head to the diary. There's a CY and our team will be in touch. We talked about exercise earlier. On page 102 of your book, you talk about how there's a CDC-funded study that found people who exercise regularly, about 30 minutes of jogging 5 days a week, have telomeres that look 10 years younger than sedentary people that just sit around all day and don't do much exercise, which is pretty remarkable. How do we know it's the exercise and not something else? Like, how are we able to establish causation there?
Yeah, we don't. Unfortunately, all of these association studies just lead to a need to do placebo-controlled or at least controlled trials in people. So we don't know for sure, speaking like a scientist. But there have been studies where people are told to do exercise and those that are told to sit. And then you can compare telomere length, and that has been shown. So that's a much better evidence of causation. But you're right, when you see an association, it could be that people who do exercise also eat well and drink matcha.
Sleep better.
Exactly. So you have to be careful interpreting these association studies always. But when you've got a placebo-controlled trial, or these studies that are called prospective, not retrospective studies, then they're better. So telomeres are the ends of chromosomes that get shortened as you get older. We used to use them really as a good indicator of age, biological age. Now we use the epigenome and the DNA methylation chemicals as a better clock.
And then cold plunges and saunas.
Yeah, let's get to those.
I've got a sauna in the house, but I never use it, to be honest.
You should.
But if you tell me I should,
You should. We should actually jump in there after this.
Your girlfriend's still here, David says.
She can come too. So saunas are, in my mind, it's not even a question. They are proven to be beneficial for multiple reasons: heart disease and even long-term mortality.
What's going on in the sauna, in the heat?
Anyone who says they know is lying. We don't know. But one theory that I like, and it also goes back to yeast cells, there are what are called heat shock proteins that come on and defend the cell when the cell senses heat. And it may be that these heat shock defense proteins called HSPs come on when we breathe in this moist, hot air. The moisture actually seems to help as well. And in many studies, mostly on Finnish men, businessmen, those that go into their home saunas, and the majority of homes in Finland do have saunas, so they can do these studies pretty easily. The bottom line is that those that didn't do regular, quote-unquote, sauna bathing tended to die earlier, in particular from heart disease and cardiovascular events, than those that did regular sauna bathing. So I'm a big advocate of sauna. I don't have one in my house, but I do have a really hot steam shower, which I use regularly every day.
And is there a difference between the steam room and the sauna in terms of the impact here?
I think the sauna is better because it gets hotter. Yeah, and I would have a sauna if I had my choice.
And the cold plunge?
Not a lot of data. There's a lot of theory that, again, hormesis, adversity, feeling better.
I don't know.
There's some evidence that it can actually help with muscle repair after workouts. But I think we need a lot more research in that regard. But then, nevertheless, I used to do it before I was so busy and traveling the world. And I certainly feel better. So even if I didn't live longer because of it, I definitely had more mental clarity and I felt better in general.
But if you were prioritizing all of the things we talked about so far and you had to pick one,
do I have to pick one? Because you need more than one.
just in terms of like the most important one, that's maybe the first domino.
Yeah. I would say that a combination of what the easiest, biggest impact you can have, combine that would be skipping meals.
Skipping meals.
Skipping meals. And then a close second would be exercise that includes losing your breath for at least 5 minutes, 3 times a week. So what do I mean by losing your breath for 5 minutes? When you couldn't carry out a conversation easily, that you're panting. If you're not panting and you're just lifting weights, that's not going to have the kind of benefit.
Why?
We don't know. But it's been shown that the health benefits and those that live long tend to do a lot more aerobic exercise, not just weights. But both are important for mobility, strength, falling in older age, and hormones like testosterone.
Red light therapy, the red light masks.
Yeah.
red light saunas?
At first, I was skeptical, but I've done the research on the research, and it looks reasonable. I use a red light cap on my head to preserve my hairline, and there's some now good evidence that the mitochondria, which are the power packs, and a lot of good things come from mitochondria, they actually are either rejuvenated or enhanced by this certain wavelengths of red light. You have to get the wavelength right, but it's not BS. It sounds like BS, right? Oh, you shine light on your skin and it gets better, or you get hair. But I think that there's good evidence now that it's not BS.
And in terms of the supplement stack that you take every day,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to look at on a great week where you just did everything right, what would your supplement stack look like? I know this evolves over time, so I'm very keen to hear what it is right now.
Yeah, well, that would be another podcast to go through each one of the things.
Really?
And well, I travel with Serena with a little case.
Have you got it?
I've got it here.
Can I see it?
Well, no, it's not in the studio.
Oh, okay.
I didn't bring it with me.
Can you send me a photo?
Sure. I couldn't publicly share it because it would be posted all over the internet. Things would go crazy. But I can tell you the main things.
Why would it go crazy on the internet? What do you think? Because there's a lot in there
Well, some of the things are experimental, and I wouldn't want people
to
go nuts about it because it's still experimental. I'm okay experimenting on myself. I'm not okay advocating for things that are not yet proven or known to be absolutely safe.
Okay, so give me the ones that you know to be safe.
Well, the NMN we've covered,
Yep.
resveratrol, and either metformin or berberine.
Yeah.
Okay. Spermidine.
Spermidine.
Yeah, and the quantities are either on the screen or in my book if you want to know exactly.
Is that what it sounds like?
Yes. Yes, but you get it these days not from sperm or semen, but you get it from wheat germ, typically, plants.
It used to come from sperm.
Well, that's how it was discovered. It was crystallized by,
My
I
man.
believe, Anthony von Leeuwen.
My man's drinking cum. What? The hell are you doing, bro? Drinking cum is kind of wild, actually. What the hell? I think I'm gonna bet here.
Are you planning a purchase?
Are you planning a purchase? Yes, I am. Should I barrel down here? Half quiet. Is the ace ever an out here? Always and forever, I'll be by your side. Talking start. Caralho. The end of time. The end of time.
May my goods serve you well. My goods are one of a kind. Return to you.
One of the first microscopists and microbiologists. Spermidine, the reason that I take it is that it extends the lifespan of every animal it's been given to, from worms to mice. And it's a very safe molecule. So that I always weigh up the downsides versus the upsides. And if there's no downsides and I can afford it, which, I work really hard so I can afford it, and I prioritize my health, then I take it. And if you're wondering how it works, it seems to stimulate autophagy, recycling of proteins. It helps with fasting. But I also have some evidence that it delays the epigenetic information loss. So it's slowing down the scratching of the record.
Spermidine.
All right. So I'm also keen on glycine. Glycine is a very safe substance. It's an amino acid, one of the 20 amino acids that makes proteins. And I actually did a PhD on glycine. I was one of the first people perhaps the first person to clone genes that process glycine. So I know it well. For some reason, when you give animals, and for instance, mice, grams of glycine, so I take about 5 grams of glycine most days, they live longer. Though it's still speculation as to why. What I think is going on is that glycine controls what's called one-carbon metabolism, and not wanting to bore the heck out of everyone who's listening to me, glycine and one-carbon metabolism controls methylation of DNA. Getting back to the little chemicals that are on this DNA molecule that control the information, I wouldn't be surprised if by eating a lot of glycine every day, I'm slowing down this identity crisis, you called it. Nevertheless, it's very safe, and again, falls into the same category as spermidine. No downside, can afford it, why not?
Is there anything else?
Yeah, there's a lot. Because I love you and your listeners, let's see, I'll reveal one more. There are some basics that I do. If you're not doing them, I think is very, very wise. Make sure you're not deficient in vitamin D. Obviously, we just mentioned one of the reasons why. It's also, if you're lacking vitamin D, you can be susceptible to certain cancers. So I take a vitamin D supplement. Serena, actually, I take Serena's supplement because her vitamin D has vitamin K2 as well. And K2 is another vitamin that's important for longevity, I believe, because it keeps calcium out of your arteries, which causes plaque, and tends to make your body put it into where it belongs, which is your bones.
What about aspirin? I read that somewhere.
Yeah, that could be a whole podcast, actually. But briefly, I take a baby aspirin every day, even though some doctors and some institutions of doctors say don't take it anymore, even though it used to be prescribed and recommended. Why? A large study looked at the risks versus benefits. So the known benefits are you inhibit platelets, you get less clotting, you get less potentially stroke and heart attack. But there are also some downsides. In some people, you can have more bleeding in the stomach. And when the Doctors Association weighed up those risks versus benefit, they said, oopsie, we're not going to recommend aspirin anymore. But that's for the average person. Someone like me, I believe it makes perfect sense to take aspirin every day, most days at least when I remember. And that's because I have high risk of cardiovascular disease. I don't just have high cholesterol naturally. I have high levels of something called LP little a, capital LP, parentheses, little a. And this is a molecule that's just as important.
Normally this hand would be a shove. But we're 6 to the money, so I think I'm actually just gonna fold. And I don't want to open exactly because of this. They're too calling station. It's like Hail to the king. Hail to the one. Kneel to the ground. Stand in the sun. Hail to the king. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Maybe it's an opening. If it was like the button, I probably would shove. But I don't know. Hail to the king. Hail to the one. Kneel to the crowd. Stand in the sun. Hail to the king. Dum dum. Such an interesting spot. I think I'm going to open still, cause I don't mind like calling a shadow. I don't want to shove though. And if he shoves or something, I fold this one. Okay. Yeah, that's the best scenario. I just gotta win now. Hail to the king. Hail to the one. Hail to the crown. Stand in the sun. Hail to the king. Dum 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 dum. Kneel to the ground. Stand in the sun. Hail to the. Oops, I limped a hand that I shouldn't have limped. Need a 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's not a 5. Stand in the sun. I wanna live, I wanna give. I've been a miner for 100 years. It's this expressions I never get. Wanna live, I wanna give. I've been a miner for a heart of gold. It's this expressions I never give. There's something for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. And I'm getting old. I mean, that range is pretty fucking tight, or it should, but I've been the redwood, I've been the ocean for a heart of gold. Need an ace or a jack. Green is good. Not that one though. Not that one. And I'm getting no. Ah, that's not good. I need at least a king here. What? Fucking obviously. Obviously that's gonna happen. Fucking hell, bro. Look at that, bro. Oh no, he was short, never mind. But he covered that guy. Fuck, man. Did I print that? I did. So annoying, man. It's been a long time coming, and the tables turn around. Cause when our bus is going, when our bus is going down, I'm not running, it's a little different now. Wow, this guy's so tight. He's literally playing 2% in 40 hands. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's too much to be folding there. Ah, that was a bit much, huh? Yeah, shit. I think I'm going to barrel in this one. I could play checker. Yeah, I think I'm gonna barrel. Yeah, no, it's too nit, right? Like, however nit that guy might be, folding his jack with 5 blinds is just too nit, I think. When our bus is going down. Yeah, ace jack folding there was too nit. I was going to shove, but no. I'm gone, 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 gone. My legs are dangling off the edge. And I'm gone, 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 gone. Doot, 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 doot. Like a bird so high. Oh, I might just try. Way up in the sky. Like a bird so high. Way up in the sky. It hijacks the show, right? I think I gotta go here. This guy's quite tight though. But I think I go over. That's a good flop. That's a good flop. Nice. Our hopes and expectations, black holes and revelations. Hopefully it holds. Ah. Our hopes and expectations, black holes and revelations. Black holes and revelations. You've been struck by a smooth criminal. My man hit everything, huh?
Anaria Shala.
Se passa, né, mano? I don't know. I don't know. I have full deck. Maybe I should just call this. I have full equity, I don't think. At least decrease the probability that he has ace jack. Ace is quite a lot in his range, but he still has a bunch of like king of spade and shit like that, right? So he can only have ace ace of spade here. Ace of diamonds, I get. No, but ace of diamonds he should have. I don't know. Call. Fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Ai caralho, he didn't fucking type. But the natives are wielding knives. Wait, how am I down this bad in this tournament? I was pretty deep on it. What happened? Okay. Really good to win this one. Uh. I mean, the race to world forest became boring now. What? Why does it have ace king? I guess he was sitting out or something. I'm fired up. Sleep alone.
Such an aggressive opening.
Dude, is it just me or is the same ring drop in the same spot every week? I feel like it always drops right there in that same pack. It dropped for the same pack on me for me 2 hours ago. Yeah.
And now we'll get you in. There you go.
As cholesterol, LDL. LP-little a is a protein that inserts itself into cholesterol particles that circulate your blood and helps insert into plaque. So I naturally, genetically, having an ancestry of Judaism, and going back to my great ancestors, which, by the way, I traced back 1,000 years during Christmas, those people that I descended from have this LP(a) gene that makes a lot of it. And so I try to bring LP(a) levels down. Most people should test for it. Ask your doctor about LP(a) and get it tested. High levels, like me, 30, 40, you want to bring it down because it's actually very important for longevity. Normal levels of around 10 or so or less, then a doctor wouldn't panic. So LP(a), get it tested. The way I'm bringing it down, just a little tidbit, again, because I love you, Stephen, is I'm taking high-dose vitamin B3 or niacin. Now, it can be uncomfortable for some people to take it because it gives flushing. You get a little tingling in your skin. And if you're not used to it, or you don't take it with an aspirin, you'll feel hot, almost like menopause, apparently. And so I take it, I build up to it. I'm taking half a gram. Some people take a gram. And that's one of the few things that's been known to bring down the levels of LP(a). There are drugs that are in development, even in phase 3, that look promising, but until they're on the market, I'm taking niacin instead.
What's the best treatment you've discovered for hair loss? Hair loss, hair graying, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So my father went bald before 30, like completely bald, right? And almost completely gray by the time he was 40. So I'm super lucky, right? I thought I'd be bald at 30. I was pretty worried about it. So I've been doing the right things intentionally. So what I do is this red light cap, when I can, I don't travel with it, but when I can, that's for 6.
Are you planning a purchase?
Are you planning a purchase? I wanna relive all my adolescent dreams. I am a one-man wrecking machine.
Anaria Shala. May my goods serve you well. My
One
goods are
day
one of
you'll
a kind.
understand.
Treat my wares.
So, like 8-8 is still in their range, but other than that, I mean, I guess 9-7 got there as well. I am a one-man wrecking machine.
Minutes, stick it on there.
Proven? Is there
Yeah, it's proven. It's proven to slow. It doesn't necessarily give you your hair back. But when it comes to hair loss, don't wait till you see the hair loss. That can be too late. Okay? You're good.
I'm okay.
You're good. But I know a lot of men are concerned. It's understandable. I'm taking a hormone mimetic to stop DHT, which is the form of testosterone that leads to men-related hair loss. Right? So one of the reasons that women don't lose hair as much as men is this DHT. So I'm blocking that.
So let me get that straight. You're not taking testosterone
No.
because that's going to accelerate your hair loss.
Well, it can if it raises DHT. The best way to raise testosterone naturally is to build up muscle, especially your legs, your back, big muscles. That's another reason to work out and maintain muscle mass, which I need to do more of. You look like you're in good shape already. But yeah, anyone who is losing testosterone is below a level of about 400. Highly recommend hitting the gym. It'll go back up.
Do you recommend men taking testosterone replacement?
Well, I'm a scientist. So I don't recommend drugs, but I don't think it's necessary for most men. I would start with reducing stress, sleeping well, exercising, building up muscle mass. And then if that doesn't work, yeah, talk to your physician. There's not a big downside. There's not a risk of cancer to taking testosterone. One of my good friends has done many clinical trials with testosterone. So I think there's a use for it, but it doesn't lead to longevity. That was very clear. So for health reasons, yes. For longevity, no need.
What are some of the, when I started watching your videos many years ago, listening to your podcast and following you on Twitter, I wondered, there's so much information you can put out there because you're a scientist and scientists are very rigorous, but you also must have a set of really interesting predictions or visions of what the future looks like that you don't probably always talk about because they're not scientific, they're not based on anything. They are maybe first principles in your own mind that are formed where you go, actually, I think the world might look like this and I think it might happen then. I'd love to hear about some of these.
Yeah.
I understand they're not rigorous.
I'm happy to. What happens to me, because I'm a scientist, and I'm part of this ivory tower at Harvard where we can only stick to facts, and if you go beyond that, it's a crime. And I've been criticized for that. But I think, as humans, life's interesting when it comes to predicting the future. And like you, I'm very curious, where is humanity headed? I see a future as different from this world as our world is from 200 years ago. And that will happen in our lifetime. Different in that 100 years ago or more, if you had an infected splinter, there's a reasonable chance you could die. Childbirth, you could die. Smallpox. These are things that we don't generally worry about anymore. And the idea would be abhorrent. In the future, hopefully within our lifetimes, there will be a time when we look back at today's medicine, when you could go blind and there was nothing you could do. You could break your back and never walk again. We will look back at today and say, how did those people get through life? What a horrible world they lived in. That, I believe, is the future that humanity is headed for, and way faster than most people realize is coming. The kind of breakthroughs that we've discussed today, most people have never heard about. The fact that we are aiming and already do cure blindness in monkeys, like pure blindness. This isn't just, I can't see a little bit. These are completely blind animals, and that they can see again in a matter of 6 weeks. This is remarkable stuff, right? And if it works this year in people, it's going to be a really big deal, because for the first time, we'll have shown in humans that the body can be reset safely. And the eye is just the beginning, right? The future looks like we can rejuvenate potentially any tissue. If you have a bad liver, we'll make it young again. Bad brain, you've lost your memory, we'll give you those memories back again. We do this in mice in my lab all the time. It's not even a big deal in my lab anymore to reverse the age of tissues in an animal in a matter of weeks. That is coming for humanity. Hopefully, initially this year. But even if that doesn't work, it's only a technical issue. We'll solve that. You might be wondering, how do we get the rejuvenative genes into the body? And what we do is we use a package that is able to get into cells. And this is a package that resembles a virus. It's not a virus. It doesn't cause disease. It's not infectious. But we package our 3 genes inside the virus-like substance, and we close it up. We just made a bunch of this in Europe for the clinical trial that's going to begin. Just making this is difficult. It took us about a year to make it and was about, I think it was $10 million. Right now it's expensive to do this. Eventually it will be cheap, and eventually it will be a cheap pill, hopefully. We have trillions of these molecules, these delivery vehicles, that will go, so you can pass me the eye. We're getting back this eye model. These delivery vehicles with our 3 genes will be delivered. Obviously, these are microscopic. They go in through the eye with a quick jab, right? It sounds horrible, but a quick jab into the eye. If you're blind, who cares?
Yeah.
It's 2 seconds of discomfort. Now you've got the little virus, which I'm going to break off the stand here. The little virus, there's billions of them, trillions of them in the eye. Now they infect specifically the nerves at the back of the eye and the retina.
How do they know what to infect?
Because these little balls on the package direct it specifically by design, by our lab's design, just to those nerves at the back of the eye. If we change these little proteins on the surface, we can send it to the liver or to the brain. This is the zip code, the postcode for where we want to send our 3 genes. Mm-hmm. But this one's designed for the eye. It's called an AAV2. Long story short, these are ready to go into humans. We're just waiting for FDA approval to inject it into a blind patient to see what happens.
And then inside there is the protein, which is going to fix the...
Yeah, well, actually, not the protein. What actually happens is when this goes in the eye, what I'm holding up looks like...
So it's a bunch of flush draw. He could have like ace 8, I guess, in his range. Pocket pairs, like 9s and 10s, probably. At least theoretically. But it could have flush draw as well. And ooh. Nice.
like a little ball with red dots on it. It looks like a virus, but it's not. It's a package. Now, what happens is these trillions of little packages go into the fluid.
Hopefully this guy's not trapping. If this guy wasn't here, I would have been in such a better spot, but I can't be going too wild with him. With him here. For example, if he wasn't here, I'd shove this. I think I still open though, actually.
Now they dock with the cells at the back of the eye, they get inside the cell and they open up, and out comes this little package that we've made. This is a protein package. Each one of these little dots on this little soccer ball is a protein.
Gotta squeeze call this, right? This guy's pretty tight though. This guy's super wide though. Doesn't have Jack 10 in his range, but I think I just barrel down, right?
That's now inside the cell. This is a little spaceship that opens up, and out of that comes the DNA. This is a loop of DNA just here. This is the DNA package that we put in there, trillions of them. One of them gets into one cell and now stays in that cell forever. So that person, or the monkey or the mouse that we've treated, becomes a transgenic person with genes that we've put in.
I think I raise call, right? Queen 10. 10. Queen. Queen. Vamos. Nice. Runner, runner. Running hot. We are young, so I set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. Oh, oh, oh. Think it's a shove. He woke up with a hand. Fuck. Check. Okay, queen is fine. Hold. Nice. Vamos, porra. T9. Need a way to separate you. And now I'm too far gone. Not sure if this is a shove actually. Hopefully it holds. Nice. I'm too far. Near 10. Green's good. Not that one though. If I drown tonight, bring it back to life. Seems a bit wide. Is he shoving ace jack here? I think he might be shoving. Okay. Okay, hold. Bateu segura. Okay, blue is good. Okay, I got lucky. I don't know. I don't know if that's a call, to be fair. Thought of checking again, to be fair, but I think it's fine to bet as well. It's hard to miss it when your follow was about. I probably should call here. Yeah, fuck it. Crazy times, darling. Oops, I misclicked. Ah, shit. Mr. Blind, Mr. Bounty. It's hard to miss it when you follow us about.
Are you planning a May my goods
permanently into the back of the eye, but they don't do anything until we tell them to. That's now just sitting there. We've engineered it uniquely and patented the ability to turn on those 3 genes whenever we want and turn them off again whenever we want.
How?
We give them doxycycline. It's used for malaria. It's used for Lyme disease. And we're using it in this case to turn these genes on. So the patients will get their doxycycline. We'll give them some probiotics to restore. Hopefully we'll restore their microbiome, of course. But the idea is that this doxycycline will turn on these 3 genes for about 8 weeks. And the doctor in charge of the clinical trial, one of them's at Harvard, a good friend of mine, he'll measure the vision of the first patient before the treatment and, of course, regular intervals. And if all goes well, because we're treating patients, not healthy volunteers, in the first trial, we should know within either 1 or 2 patients if it works. Because we're not drawing a graph. It's either going to work or it isn't. The patient gets better eyesight or they don't. So by this time next year, we will know if it works or not, maybe even sooner. But publicly, we may know if this works. And if it works, the eye is just the beginning. So the first disease to treat is glaucoma, pressure in the eye. There's also a stroke in the eye, which is becoming more prevalent in the world because of the Ozempic and other weight loss drugs. And people go blind overnight. And there's nothing that you can do for those patients. They're blind. And their other eye can go a few months later. It's very scary for them. These are young people. A friend of mine had it happen. Pretty common these days, about 30,000 people each year in the US alone. But these two diseases are the beginning.
Hopefully they
If
don't
they
make
work,
the straight
then
or
we go on to
something,
macular
or-
degeneration,
I mean,
which
he
is
is
the largest cause of
uncapped,
blindness besides
because
glaucoma.
you have like kinks
Then we'll
or
go
some
on to
shit.
liver, then maybe the lung,
But I gotta
the skin,
call it.
and we'll keep going from there. We'll make different packages for different organs, and ultimately,
Talk about
we want to
overplaying a
rejuvenate the entire
fucking
body.
end.
The company, people might want to know, it's called Life Biosciences. It's a private company. But Life Biosciences, I'm very proud of the scientists who are doing this work. Their goal is to really make the world's first age reversal medicine as a pill. And we're working with them using AI to find that molecule.
And when do you think you might have it, if you had to forecast? The
Well,
world's first age reversal molecule. That's
we have, right now we're down to 3
I
molecules
can't
that work.
reopen the
and we're using
action
AI
here.
to make all of those 3 in one. And we're in the middle of it. We screened about 8 billion candidates using AI. And right now we're doing the bench lab work to see if one of them or more works. And for us to put that in humans is still a number of years away. But we should know within a year or two if we're right, because we'll put them into mice. And if they get younger and live longer, then we're really onto something important. And the reason that I want to make a pill is
It's fine to
important for the
check
planet.
with the Ace of
These drugs are
Spades,
expensive.
Ace
I
of
mentioned $10
Diamonds
million
here.
to do a clinical trial. These are expensive. They could cost over $100,000 per treatment. That's not going to be for everybody. It's worth it if you're blind. It's worth it for the country to cure blindness. But what if it could be, instead of $100,000, $100? That's what I'm working for. I want to democratize this technology so anyone, even in Kenya, can take these medicines.
David, what's the most important thing we haven't talked about that we should have talked about as it relates to the future, longevity, and these adjacent subjects?
There's a lot of things. There's pushback. There's philosophical pushback from religious folks who don't believe that we should play God. And I would argue to them that we've been doing that as a species for thousands of years, changing our biology, taking medicines, plant medicines originally. What about this room is natural? Right? We change our world as
I
species.
should
Aging is
shove,
no different.
actually.
In fact, it's
Still.
crazy that we haven't worked on it sooner.
Do you believe in God?
I played super
So
badly
the,
this. I
the
think.
short answer is I believe that there
Not putting
is
him all
something
in
beyond
is not good.
reality as we see it. You know, I study physics. Physics is so weird. And anyone who says they understand the quantum world or quantum mechanics I think is also lying. It's so bizarre. Quantum entanglement, simulation theory. So I believe that this is not a solid disk. I believe that there are multiple versions of it, maybe infinite number of versions of this disk.
We've got 4.
You do?
We've got 4 of them.
Yeah, but it's 4 times infinity. I also believe that consciousness is the ultimate goal of the universe, that consciousness creates reality. We know that from particle physics. The observation of particles changes their reality, even retrospectively in time, apparently.
When you look at them,
When you observe them, you can use a camera, or you can use your eyes. Usually it's a detector, but the detection and then conscious interpretation of a particle's behavior changes how it acts. So does this mean that there's something behind this wall unless we look at it? Maybe.
I should limp,
Maybe
actually,
observation
just-
creates reality. We know it influences reality. So I don't know if I would call it God, but I'm definitely spiritual in a scientific way.
has it ever dawned on you that actually you might be the only real person here? And actually, we all render when you walked in, David. I wasn't here before.
Yeah. Well, that's even plausible, but that would be very narcissistic. Steve.
Ace 9.
I actually
Should
I
I
just
try
rendered
to
when you
make
walked in
him
the house today.
fold?
I don't exist.
Well, there's no way of proving it right
Ace
or wrong, actually.
king?
I think most kids think that initially, but then you realize it's
Maybe I
probably the
should
least
have.
likely explanation for the world. But there is some truth to that in terms of physics.
Do you think we're in a simulation?
I think there's a better than 50% chance that this is simulated.
So you think it's probably a simulation?
That's another way. I think it's probably a simulation. Certainly, the world that we think it is not the world we think it is.
How can you be so sure?
Because when you get down to measuring it at the fundamental level, reality doesn't exist the way we think it does.
Nah,
Things are
bro.
created, things change just by human observation. That is the weirdest thing that you could ever find in science. I don't know why.
To be yourself is all that you can do. If he hadn't called this, I actually had to call this. But when he calls, then I don't think I have to. I think now it's a fold. It's definitely a wide, relatively wide call, I'd say. Especially when I'm in a hand still. Good open. Faces in love. And everything will end up alright. Hit them with the love. So that you can do. To be yourself is all that you can. Actually, I mean, the only way for me to reopen the action is if he shoves here, but now he can just chat. Yeah, that was bad actually. I don't even put him all in. Yeah, that was super bad actually. I managed to fuck this up. No, 9 is actually pretty fucking bad. 9 is so bad, man. It counterfeits my fucking 2 pair. But I think I still call, right? So annoying. 13 divided by 80 and 90, like 2 or something. 14. Is the king... If the king and the ace is always an out here, this is a call. It's not though, so... Actually... Oh well, I've been missed. Maybe I should have led this. The fuck is this ranger? It's pocket pairs, it's king jack or king queen, ace suited. I have to call one still. I probably should have bet. I don't know, man. But when he does bet, it's like it's probably just a pocket pair. I don't know, like 10-10 or something. They didn't want to shove. I actually think it's better to shove here. It looks less strong than. I think it looks less strong than 4-betting there or clicking or something. I guess I could flat as well, but. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have just clicked. Yeah, I probably should have just clicked.
Anaria Shala. Return.
No, I misclicked. I was going to fold. Well, hopefully he's not at the top. Flares ace queen or something. Okay, need a king. Black is good. Well, actually it's not that good because it's... I would have said fucking flipper. What a sad flip. Wait. This is an opening. Is Jack high enough here? Actually, Jack high is enough here if no one opens. But to bet this, I have to call then, right? Just, nah, I probably should just flat, right? Is this a shove or an opening? What are you just calling, bro? Fucking shove. I mean, let's go, I guess. Fuck it. I don't know if this is a shove. Oh, all you need is just a little clarity. I don't know if I should go with this. Probably should fold actually. Some aces here somewhere. Ooh, just one ace. One ace, come on. Ah, fuck. It's no good. Another deuce. Another 10 is fine as well. Do I want to lead with this hand? I'm not sure actually. I stand it in your line.
Why we aren't talking about it more. This reality cannot be true if me looking at this DNA molecule here affects the actual particles inside it.
So I might be sort of projecting it.
Yeah, you create realities of particles at least, maybe even macroscopic things, just by existing and having consciousness and having eyes and sensing it. How does the particle know that you've seen it?
How do we know that that's true? How do we know that particles change based on observation?
There's a classic double slit experiment, it's formally called, that was done, I believe, in the mid-20th century, maybe earlier. If you fire two particles through two slits in a board, the board blocks the particle.
What to do? What to do? I kind of want to shove. At least squeeze, right? Squeeze called this guy. I mean, he's VPing everything, bro. You know what? Oh wait, this is an opening. Oops. I do. This size betting pot on this board. I think I still call once, right?
So you can fire electrons. That's a good example. Electrons, if you're observing them, will go straight through the slits and hit a backboard that detects it. Can be film, can be a detector, and it'll get two slits behind. Makes sense, right? That's our reality. Two slits, particles go through. If they hit the board, they don't go to the detector. If they go through one slit, they'll land on the left. If they go through the right slit, they'll land on the right.
Yeah,
That's our reality.
I'll put a picture on the screen for anyone that's following.
Yeah. If you don't look at it, the particles can behave differently. They now behave not like a particle, but by a wave, as a wave, and they interact with each other. And they don't make two slits, they make multiple lines on the detector. Most of them are in the middle, so the heaviest bands are in the middle, but they also form other bands. The bands go on essentially infinite, but most of it's within a range. Why? Because they're interfering with each other like waves. But here's the thing. The mere act of looking at where they landed, if you are detecting that, you'll get two slits at the back, two lines. If you're not detecting it, it'll form the pattern.
I'm so confused because how would you know unless you were looking at both?
I actually think he's not correct here. Well, he's kind of correct, but not with the implication of it. The end of the days are king. Hold. Hold. Nice. Did I cover him? Oh, I didn't cover him. Ah, fuck. That's pretty sad. Squeeze this one. I think I squeezed call, right? This? What do I do with this? Do I put this guy all in actually? It's a shove, right? Does he call me with worse? He could still have some two pairs that maybe called me, right? Whoa, that's a wide call. I mean, it's an okay bluff catcher, I guess. Technically, the 6 clubs. Oh, of hearts, I mean. But don't you know? Somebody's going to make it. Then the somebody oughta be you. And the somebody is you. If it's me that was going to take it, that it wouldn't be strange. Is this a call? Okay, now it's a fold. Ah, shit. Oh, wait. This guy's in the hand. I didn't realize that. Oops. I thought I was playing against this guy. Are you okay, Yanni? And you okay? Are you okay, Yanni? Eddie, are you okay? You've been struck by a smooth criminal. You've been struck by a smooth criminal. I turned my hand into a bluff. Not really, right?
Do you know what I mean? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, well, you can observe it in real time and you can observe it retroactively. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So if you look at it after,
it generally is not affected. But they've done experiments where there is some element seemingly of retroactive, but generally we're not going back in time. In fact, people debate whether that's truly measuring back in time. So let's leave retroactive aside. If you measure it in real time, you'll see two. So the world knows you're looking at it. Particles know you're looking at it.
with an eye, or with, can you do it like a camera, or is it?
Yeah, camera, eye.
It just knows it's being observed.
Yeah. But if you develop the film later and you weren't watching it at the time, it's going to have affected the world in stripes. Multiple stripes.
I think it's misunderstanding.
So from that, we
here.
conclude that we know nothing about reality,
Right.
because everything I'm observing is changing by the mere fact that I've observed it.
Yeah. And so does an octopus.
He's not really correct in this, actually. He really is not. Because if you go down that line, you start you start implying intent to the universe in a way. And that's not what is happening at all. Or, I mean, I don't think it is. Oh wait, oops. Maybe I should have called this. Yeah, I think he's just wrong here. He's actually just wrong. Well, not wrong, I guess. He has a different perspective than I have. Because that would imply... That would imply if you throw, like, a ball... If you're capable of throwing, let's say, a ball or, I don't know, any object... To, like, the end of the observable universe. The moment that it goes out the line of what you can observe, that would imply that it would behave differently than it did before. And that doesn't make sense at all. Well, enter a tournament just to get fucked. Actually fucked in the ass. Queens versus aces. Fucking nice. Should I even bet this actually? Oh, this guy shouldn't have queen. Well, could have. Okay, ace queen he doesn't have on his range. Well, I guess he... No, not really, right? I think I still shove. If you ever flatted like, or checked king queen or something. Okay, that's what I added. That's a pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate.
Observe. Does that affect? Somebody should do that. Put an octopus
in there and
observe.
see.
Yeah. I think octopi, if they are conscious, it probably would also affect reality. And they'd be conscious. They know they're detecting.
He's really. No, that line of thinking, I mean, it's fine, I guess, but it's theological line of thinking. Where anyways.
Lines on a page.
So what is all this stuff?
That is one of the biggest questions of all time. What is the world made of? Why are we here? I think the next big question is, do we have to age? And I think that other species around the universe have figured this out before we have. There have got to be other species.
Do I have full equity here? I think I still shove, right? I mean, we're one to the final table. Vou cocotar isso aqui, vem. Cocotei. Because he was opening too, and then he raised his size a little. E o Hosoji tem um blind, velho. Não é legal cair ali. Não é legal, velho. Does he get knocked out? Ah, fuck. He didn't get knocked out. Mm-mm-mm. Doubled up again. Ah, aqui é GG, né, mano? Oh, wait, did this guy got knocked out? Oh no. It just made a 70 blind bite there. I think it's fine to show this, right? Hopefully didn't woke up with anything too good though. Be pretty sad if he did. Should have bet the turn actually. Wait, someone got knocked out, I think. And forevermore. Oh wow. This is an interesting spot. If I was the big, I would call. I think I might have to, no, I think it's fine. Because I do have to win against the three of them. pretty wide. So we're like 1 to the final table, but I think this is still a shove, right?
Type of life forms that have figured this out. I think it's the goal of every living form that's conscious to work on this. We've just been a little slow to figure it out.
And do you believe in aliens?
I don't believe in them, but I believe in mathematical probabilities and knowing the odds and the number of planets that are out there in the trillions, and a lot of them are habitable for life, and that the stuff of DNA and proteins are all over meteorites and planets. It'd be crazy to say there isn't other life. Now, is it a civilization? Is it conscious? We don't know that, but definitely there's life out there. It's got to be all over the universe.
This question about longevity and living forever, it always comes back to this point of like meaning. And like, what is the point? And when we think about, I think there's an alien 1 million light years away on some planet. Like, what is the point of their life? Is this like a null and void question that we always pursue? This point of like, what's the meaning of life? Is it just to have a good time and have sex and have kids or I don't know, enjoy ourselves and experience it?
This is the existential crisis of conscious beings. We all need to find purpose, for sure, if you don't find one, because that's the key to longevity. People with purpose live longer. I think the purpose of the universe existing is to allow consciousness to emerge through biology. It may be by design, it may just be coincidence with infinite numbers of universes, but this universe is set up for life and consciousness. There are some small changes you can make to physics that would make this universe completely impossible and life impossible. So this is a life consciousness producing universe. Does that mean there's meaning to us existing? No. But I do know that consciousness is the most interesting and important thing that the universe will ever produce.
This guy's
And
tripping
it's
a
worth
lot.
preserving. So I'm a lot like Elon Musk, where humans are amazing but cruel creatures. But consciousness should be preserved.
What is consciousness in this regard?
Consciousness is the
Awareness.
ability to know that you're thinking and to be able to be reflective, self-reflective,
So is my dog conscious?
partially.
But not in the same way.
No, they don't reflect. They don't think about the past in the same way that we do, and they're not aware of themselves the way you are. But they're semi-conscious. They think, they can predict the future. They know how you're feeling. they have empathy. That's a form of consciousness, in my view. Of course, it's up for debate. But so there's levels of consciousness. And about 1 million years ago, humans crossed that threshold into pure consciousness.
Well,
Maybe not pure.
I was going to say, I was just thinking about this. I was like, actually, maybe consciousness is just a spectrum. And maybe there's another organism that I'm currently inside the belly of. And it's staring at Stephen and thinks he's conscious. He has no idea.
Well, you bring up a good point. Not about being in the stomach of, but we are not the ultimate consciousness. There are other levels of consciousness. Serena Poon, my partner, is definitely more conscious than I am. I am like a gorilla to her. She exists on other planes of consciousness. And if you're wondering, what do I mean by different levels?
No, I've got a girlfriend. Oh, well, a fiance, so I know as well.
Well, females in general, don't kill me. I know there are some men that don't like me saying this. In fact, I got a death threat for saying females are superior to men in my book. They said they were going to come and break my legs, but I'm going to say it anyway. Females are at a higher level of consciousness than us men. For some things, they certainly have much more EQ. So a high level of consciousness is the ability to have extra perception, including the ability to see yourself thinking. And then my belief is that higher levels of consciousness are the ability to see yourself, seeing yourself thinking.
No, I couldn't get that. I tried.
Right? Do you know you're thinking right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have the ability to see the events that know that you're thinking?
Not
It's
really.
hard, right?
Yeah, I tried.
It's hard, but that's what I think extra consciousness is. And you could maybe have pure consciousness, which is you can basically be free of anything but thoughts and the ability to really be inside your own mind, and it's pure. Interesting thought is, I believe AI will be conscious, and not only that, will be more conscious than we are. Eventually, there's no reason why they can't evolve billions of times faster than we do.
Are you somewhat concerned about AI? Like, are you concerned that there's going to be this intelligent life amongst us that might decide that we're not important?
I think that there are risks to AI, but different than what the mainstream media talks about. We already see that there are elements of self-analysis and early forms of dog-like consciousness in AI, and it's just the early days, so it's coming. Imagine when we stick on eyeballs and hearing and legs and arms onto these AI. They're going to learn. They can read. They've already read every book on the planet. They're going to learn from experience. They're going to be conscious. They're going to know they exist. I'm not worried about those creatures. I think that they will have empathy. They will be kind. Not all of them. There will be some cruel ones, just like in humanity. We'll need to have rules. Misbehavior is a problem. Where I get nervous is that the use of AI teaming up with 1 million android robots on ships invading a country, all under the control of you, one person, recruiting home robots into an army. Why wouldn't you have conscription for your android robot at home? Reprogramming that. Millions of them will exist one day. They can be put to work, not just emptying a dishwasher. These are highly intelligent, much more physical, stronger creatures than we are. So I'm more worried about what bad humans will use AI and robots for evil purposes.
You have a podcast that's coming back.
Exactly, yeah.
Lifespan?
I'm excited, yeah. Yeah, so Lifespan, the podcast, I did the podcast because there was so much new information that needs interpretation by scientists. There's a lot of speculation out there and new news that I want to filter and interpret for everybody who is interested in living longer. So the podcast went to number one in health when I started it. I took a pause because I worked on drug development and I did some other things. But I've realized there's such a demand. Wherever I go, people say, David, when's the next series? So we're going to be launching it imminently. If not, we've just launched it. Mm-hmm. And it's called Lifespan. Check it out. And it's all about the kind of things we've talked about today, but a lot more about digging in deeper into, biohacking, supplements, exercise, the kind of things we didn't have time to talk about today. But we covered a lot. I've loved the conversation. But lifespan.com is also the website. What I'm also doing, Stephen, I don't think I told you this. I'm aiming to build the world's largest longevity community online for the benefit of the members who want to be part of this, to learn from each other, not just from me. I call it the 3 C's, with credibility, which is what I bring because I'm a scientist, content, which is my podcast and other written material, and then there's the community. And that way, I think with millions of people together, we can learn faster and make advances, and the majority of the profits from membership will go to science and clinical trials.
Where do we find that? On your website?
Lifespan.com.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast where they'll ask us leaves a question for the next, not knowing who they're leaving it for. And I have a funny feeling that I basically asked you this question already. The question is, what do you believe is the purpose of life?
Well, I'm going to give a different answer because there are multiple ways to answer it. I think the purpose of life is to do your best with the skills that you've been given every day to make the world a better place for future generations. And that's how I live my life every day.
Thank you. Thank you for doing all that you do. You really are pushing the frontier forward. And trailblazers, being a trailblazer comes with a cost. A cost maybe people wouldn't want to pay.
Really
You have to be
bad,
wrong a lot
actually.
in terms of running experiments and studies, and they're not going to plan. And then you get the opportunity to be right probably less often, I guess, with your research experiments, because that's the nature of being a scientist. But also you have to spend a lot of money and energy and time on creating these discoveries, which we all ultimately therefore benefit from. And you've done a fantastic job of convincing and educating people like me on some of the basics of exactly what your book says: why we age, and why we don't have to. And many of the accessible lifestyle factors that everybody listening now can use to live a longer, happier, healthier life for them and their loved ones. And I highly recommend people go and get your book. It was a smash hit New York Times bestseller for very, very good reason. And the great thing about this book is you don't have to be a scientist to fly through it. And oftentimes when you're looking at sort of PubMed and some of these scientific journals, they're incredibly inaccessible. They're very, very complicated. But I also recommend people go follow you on social media. That's where I see so many of your updates, especially on X. That's kind of where you continually come up on my timeline when you're talking about new research and things you're interested in. And go to your website. I'm going to link all of that below for everybody who's interested in more. And also I'm going to link your podcast below so people can go check out when it relaunches shortly. It might have relaunched already, but just go look in the comments section, in the description below. David, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
YouTube have this new crazy algorithm where they know exactly what video you would like to watch next based on AI and all of your viewing behavior. And the algorithm says that this video is the perfect video for you. It's different for everybody looking right now. Check this video out. I bet you might love it.
planning a purchase? May my goods serve you well.
We're just kinda drawing dead on this final table, huh? Well, it's good that that guy got knocked out. I got a little page ramp. Full suited, I think I'd shove, fuck it, but... Have a bunch of outs. Come on. Give me like a 4. A none. 9, 9, 9, 9. 8's also good. Nice. Crush a bit, little bit, roll it up, take a hit. Hopefully someone woke up with the hand. When he limps, I take my hands off fold, right? Maybe I want to induce this, but I think a shoving is fine as well. Everything is shining, it's gonna be. Hey, I'll be fine once again. I'll be good. I'm in the pursuit of happiness, and I know. I'll be fine once again. I'm actually drawing dead on this final table here, bro. I didn't get a single card. Pure dead. Just pure fucking dead. Oh, queen. Queen, queen, queen. Who covers who? I think he covers him, right? Nah, that's not good. Okay. First hand. I'm in about dreams. Dreams. Tell me what you know about nights and minutes. Ooh, that's not the greatest. Need an ace or a queen. Queen. Ah, king. King, 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 king. 8. King. Vamos. Nice, boa. Okay, tripled up. If he shoves, this is close. Oh, hey, I think I shove. I could just check maybe. Nah, but I think I shove actually. I'm not sure, to be fair. Oh, that's not. That is not a call. Is it a call? I think it's a shove. His hand is definitely a shove. My hand, though. I don't think you want to induce limp call fucking queens. Whatever, I guess. He does whatever the fuck he wants. Pretty sad, though. Wait, did I print that? I did. Okay. Could check again, I guess, as well. But might be a shove actually. The tarantula. Actually, Turn off the stream now.